Hi, everyone. My name is Ellen Linnihan. I'm the author of the book Capturing the Classroom. And today I'm going to help you to get one more right, at least one more right, hopefully, on the ACT English section by teaching a simple rule, which is that in general, in the English language, if you don't need something, we punctuate it, which basically means think of putting little Velcro tabs around the corners of each little element that we don't need. And we could essentially kind of take it out of the sentence, or we can stick it into the sentence but we have to have something, those little Velcro tabs on both sides to show that we could fully take it out or fully put it in there. So let's get started. Here are the interjections. So these are all listed at the beginning of the sentence, and the beginning of a sentence starts with a capital letter. So we consider that to be like a punctuation element. So, hey, comma, that's not fair. We don't really need the hey in there because it doesn't really add anything except maybe a tone or an attitude of how you feel about what's happening. But that's not fair is a completely perfect complete sentence all by itself, right? So we punctuate the hey to show that we don't really need it. Similarly, shoot, comma, I forgot my phone. We don't need the shoot. You can just say, I forgot my phone. Shoot shows you're upset about it. It expresses tone, but we don't need it. So it's shoot, comma. Dang, comma, that was a close one. Maybe it was something good. Wow, comma, that was a close one, right? It could be something positive. So that word dang or wow or whatever it might be expresses a tone or an attitude, but it really doesn't add to the structure of the sentence. So we surround it with punctuation by the form of a capital letter and then the comma. Similarly, yikes, comma, that car almost hit me, just expresses a sense of urgency or danger, but we really don't need it to add to the structure of the sentence. It just gives your writing a little bit more flavor. So get in the habit of knowing that when you have words like that, we surround it with punctuation to show that we don't actually need it. Direct address means that you're directly speaking to someone, and that person's name is not a part of the sentence structure. So for example, mom, comma, what's for dinner? Well, obviously mom is not what's for dinner. We're not serving up mom on a plate, right? But we're talking directly to mom. We're getting her attention, mom, comma, what's for dinner? So we surround mom with a capital letter mom and then also the comma afterwards to show we don't really need it in the sentence. We're speaking to her directly. The next one, are you going to the dance, comma, Jacob? Are you going to the dance, Jacob? You're asking Jacob a direct question, right? So that, again, needs to be surrounded by a comma. And in this case, it comes at the end of the sentence, so it's a question mark. And then the next one, kids, stop making so much noise. We don't need the kids in there. This is a direct address, a command voice, stop making so much noise. But we don't need the kids in there in order for it to make sense. It's not part of the structure. There's an understood you for the subject. So we could just say, stop making so much noise. It gives a little more context or flavor to know we're speaking directly to the kids. So we do kids, comma. All right, this next word, don't get scared by the big words, the non-essential appositives. Appositive is just a big fancy word for an extra noun that comes directly after one that we've already used that is not really needed in the sentence. It basically takes the same position. So for example, Brad Pitt, comma, my favorite actor, comma, is in this movie. My favorite actor takes the same position in the sentence as the subject, Brad Pitt. We could just say Brad Pitt is in this movie. You're giving a little more information by saying my favorite actor, but it's not necessary in order to understand the sentence. So a non-essential appositive. The appositive is always the second noun that follows the first. So my favorite actor is the appositive. And we would consider this one to be non-essential, meaning we don't need it in order to make sense of the sentence. So anything that's non-essential, we put punctuation around it. So Brad Pitt, comma, my favorite actor, comma, is in this movie. Essential positives, they serve the same function in the sentence in the sense that they come immediately after a noun. However, if it's essential, we don't use commas around it because commas indicate that we can pull it out like those little Velcro tabs, that we don't need it, that it's kind of just decoration. But if we do need the part that comes second in order to make sense for clarification, then we don't use the commas. So for example, my favorite actor, Brad Pitt, is in this movie. So here's the rule. If it's a proper noun, meaning somebody's an actual person with their name, and the capital letters are a good indicator of that. If it's a proper noun, we do not need more information about it. Somebody's proper name speaks for themselves, and we don't have to wonder who they're speaking about. So in this case, my favorite actor is in this movie. I don't know who your favorite actor is. I kind of do need more information about that. So because the Brad Pitt comes second, in this case, I would say that it is essential. We do need to know that. I don't automatically know who your favorite actor is. Compared to when Brad Pitt came first, I didn't really need to know that was your favorite actor. That doesn't really add anything to it. But the second example, my favorite actor, Brad Pitt, is in this movie. Then we do need to know the Brad Pitt part. So we don't put commas around his name. So here's the kicker. ACT is never going to make you make a choice about whether it's essential or non-essential. Okay, that's something that is really for you to apply to your own writing. But when they're testing you, they are going to underline one of the commas or one of the sections here. So they might underline Brad Pitt, comma, my, right? And they're going to ask you comma or no comma, right? So they'll give you options, leave it as it is, have no comma there, maybe put a period there. They'll give you some wacky options, right? Your choice is essentially, am I going to put a comma there or not? And you don't even have to think this through. All you need to do is scoot yourself over here and look, did they put a comma at the end of that appositive? They won't underline the entire thing. They'll only underline a little portion of it. And all you have to do is look to see, did they put a comma on the other end of this appositive or not? If they did put a comma there, then you need to make it match, because those Velcro tabs work together in pairs. They're either both there or neither is there. So look to see, because they've already given you that clue in the rest of the sentence, but they won't have underlined it because they're expecting you to look at just the part that's underlined to make your decision. But really, the answer lies over here on the other end. And that is really all you need to know about non-essential and essential positives. Just remember, if you don't need it in the sentence, you can just put commas around it and show punctuation around it to show that you don't need something. And that's hopefully at least one, maybe two or three more right on the ACT. So good luck, everybody.